Well, day two jury selection continues today in the racketeering and corruption trial of former Alderman Ed Burke. Burke was in court Monday, 5 years after federal raid on his office as he sat quietly as attorneys questioned potential jurors. During round one of jury selection, Burke is accused of using his decades of political power to enrich himself and his private law firm. The trial is expected to last 6 weeks. He's already propped $3 million in campaign funds. Perfectly legal, works in Illinois. Dropped $3 million on his defense team. Joining us now to discuss the case is investigative ace of the Chicago Tribune, two-time Pulitzer finalist Ray Long. Mr. Long, thank you for your time.
Good to be here, Brad. Thank you for having me.
So, one of these allegations is, shaking out a Burger King owner who wanted to fix up his place. It's almost the comical part of the whole story here because, as one insider told me, it shows you just how corrupt Mr. Burke became, that he's shaken down franchisees, for minimal amounts of money. Beyond that charge, can you give me a brief overview of what we're looking when it comes to racketeering, steering money towards his own law practice? Can you give me an overview of those?
Right. The one you mentioned there, of course, is where he was shaking down a couple of owners of a Burger King out in his ward, in the 14th Ward on the southwest side. He wanted them to send him tax work, and he wanted them to also send a contribution to Toni Preckwinkle, who, as you recall, was running for mayor. And as you recall, she got really damaged by the emergence of the information that she had gotten a contribution in that way. And so we also have basic shakedown attempts by Burke allegedly asking some of the renovators of the old post office there in the West Loop to give him tax work, and he wasn't going to give them the kind of clearance through the maze of permits that you have in City Hall to get their renovations done unless he got some of the tax work. He even said things like, "Have we got the tuna yet?" And everybody in Chicago knows what that means. And he was saying that to Alderman Danny Solis, the former alderman turned mole, and has been the guy who's caught Burke on the recordings. So it's really big stuff, little stuff. He even was angry with the Field Museum when they didn't come up with an internship offer to the daughter of former Alderman Terry Gabinski, and Burke allegedly threatened to fight to the fee increase that the Field Museum wanted to help them get along and get by.
It's a fascinating look at a man who becomes all powerful and who is also seemingly so vengeful over what you describe as one of many really trivial instances. So okay, Burke's got a dream team, $3 million in so far. He's probably got endless money he can spend on this. Versus, though, the almost never loses federal governments. The Fed just nailed the ComEd for former Speaker Madigan's chief of staff. So it's jury selection time, which is, you and I know, if you ever sat through it, it's boring, capital B, but hugely critical. Both sides. You know both sides here. You know the U.S. Attorney's Office. You know Team Burke. Who are each looking for to be jurors?
Yeah, it's real interesting, Brad, because a lot of these jurors are saying, well, I don't know who my alderman is. I don't know. I haven't heard of Burke. Some say that. A lot of others have heard of him but don't know the details. There was an IRS agent who said, well, I've been following Burke for a few years, so that one may get tossed by the defense team. So I think the Burke folks want somebody who they think may have some sort of appreciation for the old machine type ways of Chicago, and the federal government wants somebody who will look at things with a very objective view and determine whether or not they've crossed a line.
That's an interesting insight. Been good point there. You did a remarkable retrospective on Burke's career in the Chicago Tribune over the weekend. I mean, 50 years as alderman, and I mean, omnipotent power, you know, and you're the guy who wrote the book on omnipotent power, the book on the likely most powerful speaker in the history of the United States, Mike Madigan, who's headed to trial himself. You know, and a lot of people are kind of here forgot about the Burke story. The raid was 5 years ago. It's taken a lot of time. He's no longer in office. Speak to his power, like at his most powerful, you know, just briefly, to his power and why he needs to pay if he did wrong.
Well, he got to the point, allegedly, there where he didn't think that he could be caught, and he allegedly got to the point where he didn't even think about how far he could push the line. He just demanded things. Like he even said one of the famous quotes, which I won't be able to say completely on the air, but it was with that old post office deal. Well, if they're not going to come around on the tax work, then F them, you know? So that meant he wasn't going to help them get the basic permits they needed to get their renovations done on a major project in the West Loop. So,
yeah, and important for all the community. So, I mean, he was basically saying, if you don't give my law firm your money to fight your property tax bill, which is a whole issue in and of itself, how you can have both jobs, then I'm going to basically stonewall you from being successful for this. It's a remarkable confluence, is it not? Have you ever seen more, you know, more of a dichotomy, more sides of a man, more of a confluence of conflicts in one individual, probably besides Madigan, right?
Well, right, but you are exactly right in the idea that Burke is a guy who kind of portrayed himself as a cut above the other aldermen, the other mischief makers, as I said in that piece that you referred to. But he dressed to the nines, still came in yesterday with his pinstripe suit, slicked back white mane hair, and, you know, his wife, he helped elevate to the Illinois Supreme Court, where she was actually appointed Chief Justice of the Illinois Supreme Court after he was indicted. So it's one of these really strange and odd things that can only happen in Illinois.
Truly, because I've been in other states, never seen anything like it. You are right. It is only in Illinois. Two-time Pulitzer Prize finalist Ray Long, Chicago Tribune. We're going to be checking back with you soon as things kick off here very soon in the trial itself. Thank you for your time, Mr. Long.
Thank you as always, Brad.